Hello YouTube, this is Aero Music, and this is the first tutorial video that I've actually made for this channel and just in general for music. And this is probably the first time that any of you have ever actually heard our voice as well, so congratulations. Today we're going to be showing you how to build a very simple but very effective reverse bass type sounding kick for your hardstyle tracks using only stock plugins and sounds in Logic Pro 10. Now, for the purpose of this video and just for getting you guys, so you know kind of what we are doing, we are currently running on Logic Pro 10.4, and that is because we have heard many mixed reviews about the new update and that it is not very stable and it does not let Logic run properly. And so we have decided to not update our system until these problems are solved. So before we begin, we're just going to show you a little sample of what the sound is going to be roughly in the end. So we're going to play that for you now. So obviously if that is not the kind of sound that you are looking for, then unfortunately this is not a video for you. But if you do like that sound, then please continue to watch and we will show you what we do to create this sound. So obviously we're gonna start with our instrument, and we are going to start with a 909. Typically we like the boutique 909 sound first. Just a preference. There are other 909s obviously available, but we found that the boutique 909 was the most effective to work with. So we're going to import our empty MIDI region. And we are going to command and click where the kick goes. Expand that all the way. And then what you want to do is bounce in place. Again, this isn't really a mandatory motion, but we find that it helps eliminate software issues and kind of glitching issues. And so if you're going to create a sample using a MIDI, especially if you're creating a hardstyle sample, we suggest that you bounce that in place so that you have the actual audio file and not just the MIDI patch running. Now first we are going to want to include our clip distortion. That is one of the most important plugins when creating the kick, the hardstyle kick, is the clip distortion. And that is why a lot of hardstyle producers, from what we understand, enjoy using Logic, even if that is just for the kick. They like to use the clip distortion because it is very effective at helping creating the sound. So this is what it sounds kind of default. So we pull the tone down to 90 Hertz. We would keep the clip filter to 2000, maybe 2000 to 2200. We're gonna blast the drive up to 40. And then this is the symmetry tool. You definitely don't want a symmetry or it's going to sound just kind of this ugly dissonant sound. When in hardstyle you want to have that really nice clean tone coming through. So we like to take the symmetry and put it down to about 66. That's down here. So it just kind of has that bouncy sound. It's not too wild. See, that's kind of muted. And then we have that kind of dissonant sound. So 66 is a good spot for that. At the low pass, you want to increase it so that it lets those higher end frequencies come through. We like to keep it about 1600, maybe 17. And then the Hardstyle thing, we usually just turn it down because it just kind of helps with the volume and with the drive of the sound. Then we'll just turn up the gain a little bit. Obviously, you probably wouldn't want to wear headphones for this, but we're gonna do that because apparently we hate our ears. There we go, that's not too bad. Now we don't need that anymore. So the next step is, of course, adding the EQ. Oh, go away. No one likes you. And we want to take down this very big hump of bass there. And the reason why we take down the bass a bit is so that we can further the start and continue to create a sound the way that we want to. Just another thing that we, again, personal preference, we like to have in the output channel another EQ, and we're not going to do anything with that except make sure that the analyzer is on so that you can see what frequencies are being used. And as well, we like to have the multimeter running. So we're gonna get your multimeter out, and then you're gonna change it from analyzer to diometer. Probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but whatever. And this is going to show you what is happening in the left and the right channels. So because there's no reverb yet, it is only in the middle, and we are going to see that change once we add some reverb. So I'm just gonna put that up there for now. So going back to our EQ here on the boutique, we don't want to take out too much bass, because obviously if we do that, we just get exactly what we had before, but no bass. So we don't want that. We would say probably place it somewhere around the 74, 75 kind of area. And we don't want to take too much out, just like maybe 3-4 decibels. We're gonna put it at 3. And next we want to boost some of the frequencies up in here. So we like to place one at about 500. We're gonna place one about the 1K. And we're gonna place one about the 2K. Excuse me. I believe I said 2K. And then you can just kind of alter these sections. The Q factor. Sorry, forgetting the correct terminology here. Just give us a second. And it's gonna look a little something like that. Maybe this is a little too high. 2.5, we'll put that at 5. And yeah, 5, 2.5, that's good. So this is what it's gonna sound like now. So we really have that kind of bouncy sound coming through, which is exactly what we want. Now we want to pull in our beat crusher. We personally find that adding more than one clip distortion kind of muddies it a little bit. We really like to add a beat crusher afterward. Obviously you want to turn the resolution up, or else it's gonna sound exactly what you would expect. Which can sound cool, but probably not in this scenario, no. So we're gonna just turn that up all the way. And then the drive, we want to throw it up just a bit to see. So what we want to make sure, we want that drive to be up enough where it sort of clips off and then drones an afterward. That's kind of like that. Yeah, you want it to kind of sound like that. think that's a good spot, 90. And then the next portion is, of course, our space designer, our reverb. Again, space designer is quite effective. We used to use reverb, but then we were told to use the space designer, and so we kind of experiment around, and yeah, we kind of understand why people like that one more. The patch that we really like to use for this one, we like to start with a preset. I know, so bad starting with presets. We're gonna go prove probably a couple. That's not too bad. Now, obviously, we're going to make some changes to that because that is insanely big. Turn the length down because we obviously in Hardstyle we don't want it like that big, or else you're just not gonna get your sound. But we just want it kind of small reverb. And then you can kind of play around with it a little bit. Just make it sound how you want it to. And yeah, that should be good. That sounds pretty alright. We want to next pull up another big cursor. Just a little bit. Just a little. So turn the resolution up because you don't want it to sound like shit. It's got kind of a weird frequency going on. And yes, these frequencies are very important because if you don't set it up like that, you just get this. It is the way that the higher frequencies are set up that really gives it that kind of hold back on the big crusher. So you really want to make sure that you have these set up in this way. Yeah, that's about as good as that's gonna get, I think. Now that we have our second big crusher in there, despite the fact that we just said no more clip distortion, we're gonna do that again. But it's definitely not gonna be like as intense. So we wanna kind of set that here around 100 hertz. This one's gonna be about 2100. We want to get a drive up again, but somewhere between 35 and 40. And we're gonna blast all the way up, -100 symmetry. Again, the low pass we want about 1600, high shelf we want about 85 to 100. And as you can see, what is happening in the multimeter, you can kind of see what's going on there. And then of course, little more volume, just to kind of add to that drive, a little bit more gain. And then we are going to add another EQ, just to take out a little bit more bass again, so that we can further the start without our audio here clipping too badly. We say that as it continues to clip. That's okay. That's whatever. 98. 97. There we go. If you want to, you can add a little boost to the 1K. Just a little, just like a tiny bit. Not too much, just like a little. Either in like the 1K or in the upper hundreds. Yes, that's pretty okay. Start like a notch there. Now we are coming to the fun spot. We need to add in the audio filter. This is a very important plugin, because this is what's really going to help our sound have that sound that you need. Gonna add some resonance, because resonance is always a good idea. We generally like to keep the cutoff about default 50%. So you can already kind of hear that sound. When I kind of bring the envelope up a little bit. And then these are our distortion units. You can choose obviously classic to scream. We recommend against scream because it just kind of sounds kind of ugly. Except in this instance, apparently, usually it sounds like garbage. So here on this, we're not going to put a whole lot of pre-filter distortion. We want most of our distortion to be post-filter. This is more of like a warmer sound. This one's more crisper. And this one is just strange. Don't need a whole lot of dry signal, so we'll just leave the dry signal out. What threshold? About 30, minus 30. The dynamic, about 24 or 26, that's fine. Play start and release. Have a decay about 116. And we want to disdain about here, 35, 34. So now you're really starting to kind of hear that reverse sound coming through. By all means, play with the LFO if you want to. Maybe we'll have a little bit of fun with that, see how that sounds. We're not gonna use that for this time. Maybe we will a different time, but not for now. Let's add a little bit more distortion, maybe. That sounds about right. Maybe a little more resonance. Now we're gonna add in our compressor to give that, not only just to kind of level out a little bit, but to give that start, that punch that it really needs. Unless you don't want that, really depends on what you are doing in your project. We like to use the studio effect because it has it's just punchier compared to the default. And we're gonna pretty much keep all the settings the same. Detect 15 milliseconds, ratio, macro. This is all fine and good. Thank you, Siri. Please turn off. And then one thing that we like to do is we'll add just like a tiny bit more bit crusher, just to get that sound levels back up, because we're really only using the compressor to get that punch in the beginning. Other than that, it kind of destroys the levels, so we like to add a little bit of beat crusher just at the end. And now that we are basically done, we can bounce that in place. And hear what our sound sounds like. And you can do anything else that you need to, if you find that it is not loud enough, or that there is not enough bass in it. Sorry, probably shouldn't play that while we're talking. If you find that there's not enough bass in it, you can unsolo that one and hit Control M to unmute that. And you can continue to play with your sound effects until you can play with your plugins until you figure out what works best. We hope that this video helped you create this sound. If you enjoyed it, please let us know. And if you would like to hear us make more tutorials, please give us some suggestions and we will try to figure something out. If you enjoyed the content and you want to see more from us with our music or with more tutorials, please remember to leave a subscribe, and we hope that you have a very wonderful day.